Draco. I know today's about interactions, how we work together, interactions. I know you feel like you're floating, don't you? Feel the wind between your toes. I know. Oh, I understand. The way we're interacting right now is not making you happy. Is that true? Really? You're hungry again? Well, you need to go fill your little carapace. That's right. That shell of yours. Go ahead and eat some victuals. Because today, organisms and interacting. We're going to be talking about it. Keep one ear to us. All right. He's so happy in there. You hear him? He's already munching. He's already munching. Organisms Interactions. Our essential question today. Are you ready? In what ways do organisms interact with each other? Now, we're not just talking about human interaction, because we're interacting even though it's with technology. I interact when I go to the store and I need to buy milk. I interact with humans. We're talking about nature's interactions. Sometimes those interactions are powerful and in balance, right? That yin-yang balance, give and take, positive, negative. Ooh. But speaking of negative, sometimes those very interactions can be, well, not so balanced, where there's really only one winner. Let's get to it. Living together, vocabulary, that means we sit up and lean forward. Here's a vocabulary term that we have to master to truly understand our essential question. You with me? Awesome. Living together. Different organisms live together as support for each other for most of their lives. Just think about it. We're in a beautiful ecosystem. We have that energy passes from our producers all the way up to the top. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as crazy as it sounds to pass that energy, we know that certain animals ingest other animals. That's to pass on the energy. But it keeps in balance. That balance is everything to a healthy ecosystem. When they're living together, that means that they'll reproduce and they'll make enough food to have it flow up the food chain. So our hawks and the top of our food chains and humans, we get to eat and get those nutrients. But wait. Parasites. Say this word with me, would ya? Parasites. Ooh, parasites. A new word. What does it mean? These are organisms that, and I'm going to circle this word twice, harm the host. So parasites, well, in interaction, the parasite is the one that's the winner. Unfortunately, the host suffers. Some key facts. Are you ready? You see, two different organisms can live together for the benefit of both or just one. With balance, you can maybe have two that work together in complete balance. You know, there are some fish that are in the ocean that they have little tiny fish that constantly live outside of their mouths. You're like, well, wait a minute, why don't they just eat those fish? It's symbiosis. That means there's balance. That large fish needs the little fish, because guess what the little fish eat? You bet. Part of what the fish doesn't eat and also eats the little barnacles that can form on the outside of that large fish. Perfect symbiosis, perfect balance. We love those relationships. But in nature, it's true. We have some of those that only one benefits. And what was the P word we talked about? Parasites. That's right. Parasites. That's when only one benefits. A parasite in a host. Parasites benefit from a relationship while harming the host. Here's some other cool key facts. Are you ready? Here we go. Oak trees help the moss that grows on them by, are you ready? Providing shelter for the moss. Okay, think about that. I'm going to go over here to my little specimen of moss and I'm going to set it to the center of my table. Now this moss right here is technically an air plant. We call this Spanish moss. This Spanish moss actually lives and grows on these beautiful trees in the south, southern United States. Now the cool thing is that it gets what it needs. by the air that flows, the oxygen that flows, the water, and it can grow. But it gets shelter. More importantly than anything else, it gains its shelter from those trees. They're beautiful, those beautiful oak trees, and they just flow, and that moss can grow. Unfortunately, sometimes that moss, though, will act in a very negative way to the trees because then the tree can't get all of its sunshine and nutrients. Take some time, but you have to watch those relationships. So the next time that you're outside, I want you to look at those trees, and I want you to see if you see a balance, or if you see that there's a parasitic activity where only one benefits. Can you do that for Mrs. Hillman? I know you can. Ooh, what a great visual. Oh, it looks brutal, doesn't it? I want to kind of introduce you to what it is. What you see here in green, this is a hornworm. A hornworm. But you see these little guys, these little white things, they almost look like, I'm going to say it, rice. Kind of creepy when you think about it. Do you see these little guys? Well, yeah, they're alive. Those are actually wasp cocoons. There's that P word we were talking about. The parasitic, describing wasp cocoons set on the hornworm. Take a look at this. You see this worm? It no longer is alive. Those amazing wasp cocoons, are now literally surviving off of the nutrients that they're pulling from that hornworm. Parasitically. Parasite, one wins. These larvae absorb nutrients from this very hornworm. Awesome visual, isn't it, though? Ms. Hillman is such a visual person. I love gorgeous pictures, and this is so perfect for our conversation. Let's go back to our essential question. All right, you sitting up? You ready? Okay, get those brains on. In what ways do organisms interact? Do that with your hands. Ready? Interact. How do those organisms interact with each other? There's ways where both can benefit. Remember the two? And there's a way that only one benefits. I want you to think about it. I'm going to show you a picture, and you have to tell me, is it symbiotic, where they're getting along, both of them are gaining, or is it parasitic? You ready? 3, 2, 1. What is it? Parasitic, you bet. You bet. And what was the host? That's right, the worm was our host. And what were the parasites? Those little cocoons. That's right, pulling those nutrients. Man, you are brilliant. You got to kiss your brain. You ready to kiss your brain? Kiss. Oh, yeah, that's how smart you are. We just kissed our brain. That is so correct. Because, ladies and gentlemen, organisms and their interactions. And if I haven't told you recently, life science rocks. Until next time.